I've played a lot of mobile city building war games, and there's one thing that I love above all others in these recent ones I've been trying out. The absolute coolest aspect of the two Camel Studio games I've been playing is the real-time combat system. In this video, I'm going to introduce one of the ways in which players can attack other players, the timed attack. This video is applicable to both Age of Origins and War and Order. First, let's start with a basic description of the timed attack. Because battles happen in real time, it is possible for players both offensively and defensively to join a battle that has already begun. A timed attack is a preemptive method of coordinating attacks so that many players will arrive at the same target within seconds of each other. Rallies in both War and Order and Age of Origins, like many other similar games, have a limit to the number of participants, which is based on alliance technology. Similarly, rallies have a maximum capacity of troops that can be sent, and that's determined by the leading player's rally building. Timed attacks, on the other hand, have absolutely no limitation to the number of players or the number of troops that can be sent to assist. In addition to this huge benefit, rallies have a forced timer where troops gather at a city before they are sent. This gives added time for the enemy to call for reinforcements from their alliance. Timed attacks are launched immediately on a player-by-player basis. This reduces the amount of time defenders have to prepare for an attack. The downside to a timed attack is that it must be executed flawlessly in order to prevent mistakes. If times are not managed effectively, it is possible that a few slow players might arrive after the battle and meet overwhelming reinforcements, resulting in a lot of dead troops. Still, the benefits of a timed attack far outweigh the risks, which can be negated by practice. Let's move on to the coordination phase of a timed attack. There are many ways to coordinate a timed attack, but the most common would be to do so through alliance chat. After a target has been decided, players participating in the timed attack would check their march times to the target and post their times to alliance chat. When all have done so, the player with the longest march time will be designated as the first launch. The next step is the launch phase. This is the part of the timed attack that players really need to exercise precision. For first-time players, it is highly recommended that you practice with your alliance on easy targets before attempting the real deal. Remember that designated first launch player? The first launch player should share their castle coordinates and then provide a countdown for players to follow. At the end of the countdown, the first launch player will send their army at the target. The remaining participants need to be watching the first launch player's march time carefully to time their own attacks. There are two effective ways to do this, and you'll have to play around with it to see what works best for you. The first method is to watch the attack in the Alliance battle screen. Here you'll see player march times, and there will be an option to join the attack. It's an organized menu that is very easy to follow, but I've found that due to the connectivity between your device and the game server, sometimes the timers can be off by a few seconds. If this happens to you, I'd recommend the second method. The second method is to follow the march on the actual world map. When the first launch player shared their coordinates, you watch their city closely for the march to appear. When it does, click on it, and you'll get an accurate march timer for that player. Use that timer to gauge when to send your own army at the target. If you are unable to click on the march to see the timer, you'll want to go to your in-game settings and look for an option called Set Priority, or something similar, and enable it. Finally, we are on to the reinforcing phase, where you are sending your army to join that of the first launch. When the first launch player's march time is getting close to your march time to the target, you want to quickly join the battle. If you've executed this step correctly, your troops will arrive within a second of the first launch. It's perfectly fine to arrive before or after the first launch, provided that it is no more than a few seconds difference. If you are arriving 10 seconds early or late, this will have a negative impact on the outcome of the battle. While watching the first launch timer, be sure to give yourself enough time to navigate to the target, click your preset, and launch. This usually takes me roughly 5 seconds to do so, so when it's 5 seconds to my time, I'll rush to get my army launched. That's all there is to the timed attack. Again, don't worry if it takes some practice. You'll get there. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Ebony. I'll see you in the next video.